Welcome to another edition of the Dementia Care Partner Talk Show. Now, here's dementia care expert Teepa Snow and your host, Greg Phelps.
Hello and welcome to the Dementia Care Partners podcast. My name is Greg Phelps, and joining me as usual is dementia care expert Teepa Snow. And Teepa, our topic today is how can I experience what it's like to have dementia? Or would that even be a useful exercise for those learning about dementia care? Now, didn't I remember sometime that there were some glasses or something? Have we got other tools that can allow us to get some of the sensory experience, or are there exercises, or am I going to watch videos? What are some of my options? Because I don't have a clue what's going on with you.
Yeah, so there are a couple of things out there. So I would mention there's something that's not related to our work, but is related, and that's called second wind dreams. And that's like a sensory simulation of a variety of things for care partners to go through and then to debrief. So they do a number of pretty nasty things to people. They do goggles, they do gloves, they put corn or something in your quickly stuff in your shoes. They make the sounds awful, the light dim, and they put you in a space and give you things to do, and then they put a lot of background noise. So I mean, it's a horrible sort of experience to have to sort of sensitize you to what it might be like to be later in dementia in a situation where you had no support and you were having advanced symptoms, which is a way to do it. I think it's a fairly extreme first cut at what you might be noticing early on in somebody's shift or change. So one of the things that we have found helpful is to do simple things like putting your hands up around your eyes, like either with C's or O's, or a single close one eye, hold the other one up. Close one eye, use your other hand as a finding device, as a way, and having people move around in the environment, try to do a few things in the environment as a way to imagine in a very limited way what it might be like to have visual regard in a much smaller area because you just can't take in as much data, and realize that a lot of things that we do interactively or in the world around us is based on what we can see and how we interpret what we see. We can do the same thing with modifying hearing. We can do the same thing with modifying that. So if I modify my speech to eliminate consonants, I can, I'm not mumbling, you're not comprehending. Or putting in a background noise, foreground noise situation. So we tend to do work with isolated sensory experiences or isolated phenomena. I try to guide you through something without you being aware of what I'm trying to do, and then using visual cues to help you appreciate. And we do that because our goal is, yeah, we want you to appreciate something, then we want you to know what to do if that were to be occurring, which is a little different take on this. You know, it's a little different than just sensitizing. We want you to become aware and knowledgeable so that you can develop skill in support, frankly.
I think one of the first ones that I learned when I was taking the courses with you was the visual and the changes and the consequences of not being aware were actually horrendous. And that one sort of made me curious to learn about other senses, other things that may be changing.
Yeah. I mean, one of the most fun things that I can do is we were in Australia and we had the director of a board, a nonprofit board that was running a large community situation. And he came up on stage and I said, okay, so I'm going to have you put your C's up around your eyes. Now I'm going to come up behind you and I'm going to put my hand around on your shoulder and I'm going to lean around and say hi. And he goes, yeah, okay. And so he did that. I know, oh, geez. And he jumped a foot in the air and he goes, I had, oh my God, I had no idea. And he was so, wow. That, and all it was putting my hand on his shoulder, leaning around and saying hi. And suddenly he became aware that, oh, how many times in a dining room, how many times in a social situation, how many times in a hallway, how many times might we inadvertently trigger someone into a very intense reaction that could cause a fall, that could cause a negative interaction. And it's just one simple thing. But if I can't pay attention to what's off to the sides of me because I'm engaged with what's in front of me, I mean, it can happen to any of us, but I mean, it happened to him. And he didn't actually have dementia. It was just simple movement of hands versus me. And I even warned him. and it didn't really allow him to adjust in the way he thought he would be able to adjust. So for us, we take baby bites of this stuff. And yet you yourself, it makes a difference then to be curious about, well, what else might change with dementia? What might that do? So if I'm not tasting sugar as well, and I'm trying to feel good about what I'm eating, what might I do? Or if I'm tasting bitter as super bitter, what might I do with a glass of lemonade or with a medication that has that? And all of a sudden it's intolerable to me and I keep spitting it out. Now you have an appreciation of the why. So now we can figure out, okay, so what can we do? Oh, we need to change delivery then. All right. Okay. We got to come up with something different. So it allows us to problem solve, not just grieve.
The changes that a person is experiencing also calls on you to have a different awareness. A quick example, sitting on a facility, watching this woman walking around with a gray-haired woman with robe, walking around with a cup, and she's looking and spies an aquarium. And instantly, what did Greg figure out? So the regular everyday scenarios are gone. You have to be able to look and make connections.
Yeah. And when you see her start to do something, instead of going, oh, no, that idea of, okay, so what's going to help her? It's like, you look at it. Come on. Because now I can direct her to another space, maybe to get the need met that she's trying to show me and tell me about, because she doesn't have the language. She doesn't have the ability to think it through, problem solve it. But I do. So could we partner together to get somewhere rather than try to reprimand her into a different behavior that is not likely to result in the relationship we'd like to have with somebody, frankly.
So is it a valuable experience to seek out this type of learning opportunity? Do you have any videos that sort of give some clues, or can I join a class and get some information?
So, great idea, Greg. We have Accepting the Challenge, which is a video that takes you through a lot of this stuff, and it's available. You can self-pace through it. We have Champion courses, which allow you to both figure out what's going on and then how to respond to that in a way that's more helpful. We have videos of various sorts. We even have books. I mean, and so we try to cover the waterfront. We even have resource cards to help people start to get the idea of, oh, she's not doing it on purpose then. I mean, this isn't her dementia. There's just, she's just being stubborn. And it's like, well, let's look again. Let's be curious. And so it's exciting for us to get people curious, because that's what can change everybody.
Teepa, thank you very much.
Thank you, Greg.
You've been listening to the Dementia Care Partners podcast, brought to you by Positive Approach to Care. For more dementia-related information, go to teepasnow.com.